Well, welcome back to part 5 of our sales training series. So today what we're going to do is cover e-calibration and centering check on our balancing series. Now I'm going to do something a little different today. What I've done is invited a guest speaker, Greg Meyer, our product manager. And what he's going to do is give us his expert demonstration on what e-calibration actually is. Greg.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
Good, good. Welcome to the sales training series.
Thanks.
So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this on over to you, and we really appreciate your time.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about Hunter's patented eCal feature. You may have heard our competitors say that they have a self-calibrating balancer. To them, self-calibrating means that you can calibrate it yourself. That's truly not what we want, right? We want a balancer that does calibrate itself automatically. That's what eCal is. So a quick description, all balancers have 2 force transducers, and I have one of these here in my hand. This is an eCal force transducer. And our balancer, like others, has 2 force transducers. The difference is when you take a look inside ours, I've loosened it up so you can see the different pieces, you see 2 little white washers here. And these are actually 2 piezo crystals. In our competitors' machines, you'd find just 1. What these allow us to do is utilize a very interesting characteristic of piezos. If you take a piezo crystal and you hit it with a hammer, it puts out a voltage. So we can read that voltage with the computer as we do. But the really interesting thing about piezos, if you excite them with a voltage, they actually grow a little bit. And we utilize that in this transducer. Picture all this being smashed together. And when this is smashed together, what we do is we can excite crystal number 1, and when it grows, it pushes on crystal number 2, and I can read that voltage off of crystal number 2. Then I reverse the process, excite crystal number 2, now he grows, pushes on crystal number 1, and I can read that voltage. Those 2 voltages that I read allow me to check the calibration, or the output values, if you will, of these 2 crystals. So what you're going to find in the field, what our customers care about, is that because we were able to automatically calibrate, our balancer is going to be more accurate. It's always in calibration. This happens every 15 minutes without me having to do anything. We don't have to spin the wheel to calibrate. We don't have to do anything. It just happens silently in the background. What the technician's going to notice is it chases weights less. He's going to like his Hunter balancer better than others because of the mere fact that when he spins it up, he's going to get okay, okay, and off he goes.
Greg, that was excellent, man.
Thanks,
I really appreciate that and appreciate your time. So, you know, one thing that you were telling me was a story one time about the effectiveness of that e-calibration. I was just wondering if you could just share that with
Oh, the SEMA story.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, actually, the SEMA story is an interesting one because every year when we go to SEMA, we take 7 or 8 balancers, and they're all brand new machines, so they're set up and they're freshly calibrated. And over the course of the week, we run hundreds and hundreds of demos on each of these machines. So invariably, what would happen in the past is that over time, that course of that week, the temperature would change, the transducers would settle in, and we'd have to calibrate these machines repeatedly. And what would happen is invariably someone would come up to me and they'd say, hey Greg, balancer number 4 over there is chasing weights, can you go take a look at it? We'd do a calibration, everything would be fine. The first month that we had eCal was the first time that we didn't actually have to do this. And I noticed we went the entire week and I never had to touch a single machine. So to me, it was proof that eCal worked and it was effective in a real world scenario.
That's awesome. I mean, that is just too cool. So we really appreciate it. So I know you're always out there kind of creating new stuff for our balancers and brake lays and our lifts. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. You know, we're actually going to continue with this, or I'm going to be covering a little bit about your centering check feature. So thanks again, man.
Good.
And I really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right, man. Well, I hope that the e-calibration presentation by Greg was as informative for you as it was for me. You know, I've watched numerous demonstrations from our sales force, and they've demonstrated centering check for me, and one thing that I've noticed is that they give themselves a time penalty during the centering check. They'll go through the process, and then after that they'll do a secondary balance. So what I'd like to do for the centering check demonstration is just show you that there is no time penalty during centering check. I will go through the entire process, and I want you to take note that while I'm doing the process of centering check, you're actually going to see the balancer show the weight that is necessary to balance the wheel assembly. Well, let's begin. I'm just simply going to read the screen. So now you can see I've completed centering check, and at this point it's already called for a 1/2 ounce of weight. So all I have to do is come in, select my 1/2 ounce weight, So at this point, we've completed centering check, and we've actually balanced the wheel assembly with no time penalty. So hopefully you've got a little bit out of the e-calibration and the centering check. So now it's time for you to go to the sale.